Hi, all right, so in this lab, you're just gonna practice using some of the terms that relate to chemistry around your particular little corner of the world. So for each of these items, you're gonna find at least 2 examples, not including the ones I give you, from around your house, your neighborhood, work, whatever. So for example, you might find a solid. I have an ice cube here out of my freezer. And you want to give some adjectives to describe it. Colorless, has no color. Hard, push on it, it's not soft. It's cold. If I pounded on it with a hammer, it would shatter. You might smell it. You might talk about the shape. All right. So find a couple other solids and give descriptions like that. You might also find some liquids. So I have a little bit of water here. Again, it's colorless. It forms droplets, doesn't smell, fills up the container. It's easy to pour. I'm not going to demonstrate that for you right now, but find 2 other liquids, give a description of them. Gases, you could think about helium gas in a balloon. Again, look around. You might have to Google a little bit to find out, hey, what's coming out of my mouth as I'm breathing out a gas. But think about specifically things you can observe. So you don't need to go Googling real deep here. Just think about the gas I'm breathing out. Does it have a color? Does it have a smell? Is there a gas that maybe does have a smell around my house? So you're gonna find some examples there. On number 4, you're gonna find an example of heat moving, and this sometimes gives you guys a little bit of trouble, but you're just thinking about something that feels hot or feels cold, okay? So if I take a water bottle and I put it out in the sun, I could think about that water bottle, assuming it's not like an insulated hydro flask kind of water bottle, but if I have the sun is sending heat into that water. And so I could say that heat is moving from the sun into the water. The way I can tell that is that over time, the water is getting hotter, right? Here's another one to think about. Between my hand and the ice, there's also some heat moving. So you might be able to think about, where's the heat moving? Like what's getting warmer, what's getting colder, all right? Whatever's getting hotter is going to be, we could say, receiving the heat. So here the water's getting hotter, so it's receiving heat from the sun. So see if you can work on finding a couple of examples of that heat transfer. Next up, number 5, you're gonna look for some physical properties of a few different types of matter. So kind of like what we did on the first page when we described the solids, liquids, and gases, the color, the hardness, the texture, the density, the phase. So I grabbed a coin here. Coins are in high demand these days with coronavirus, but I might take this and describe what color it is. Is it hard? Is it smooth? Is it dense? Like, does it sink in water? So you're gonna list out for 2 different types of matter, some descriptions of physical properties. Physical changes, chemicals staying the same, but before and after the change, all right? Here, an example is melting sugar. It goes from being a white solid to transparent, colorless liquid. Another one you might consider, here I have some H2O, right? This ice cube, and when it melts, it's still H2O. So the fact that it's not changing composition, we have H2O solid turns into H2O liquid. Same chemical, but it looks different, right, as it melts. So that could be something that you could describe as a physical change. So find 2 physical changes around where the chemical stays the same, but it looks different in terms of its physical properties. Chemical change, you know these 2. Usually this is where you've got color changing or smell changing or the sourness of it, the acidity is changing. So say I take that sugar in a pan on the stove and it melts, but then it starts to be brown and then it starts to smell like caramel, or it starts to smell like something worse. A change in smell tends to tell you, hey, there's a different chemical here. So see if you can find 2 different chemical changes. They could be ones you're excited about or not around your house. And then measurements, we worked on measurements a little bit in lab, or we will in lab 1. So what are a couple of things, at least 2 things that you measure around the house? Make sure that you give both the number and the unit for those things that you would measure. And then as you've been working through these, jot down 2 questions about any of the matter in your world. If you don't have questions about the stuff around you, a kid or maybe even a grandparent, but especially kids are great to hang out with and just start, oh, I wonder what this is made out of. I wonder what happens if we do this. So start to ask questions, because that's really where we start to learn things and also have some fun, is when we start to wonder. If you're not wondering, then you're not doing science as well as you could be. So jot down a couple of questions and bring those even into class, and we can maybe have some good discussions about them. So that is Lab A, is going around your house, around your world, and just finding some examples of different things.